followers of the legendary Johnny Genesis North, we are releasing a must-have collection of Johnny North merchandise in our store at merch.ringsidereport.net, starting with our limited edition Johnny Genesis North 3/4 sleeve t-shirt. With a unique design capturing Johnny in action, this tee exudes raw energy and intensity through its versatile 3/4 sleeves for any weather. Stand with our legendary co-host, Johnny North. Make a bold statement in the wrestling community by getting yours today, exclusively at merch.ringsidereport.net.
The discipline of jiu-jitsu, the elegance of a perfect pour. Introducing the jiu-jitsu-inspired shaker pint glass. Crafted for the martial artist in you. 16 ounces of pure elegance, perfect for post-training refreshment or a sophisticated cocktail evening. Durable, stylish, versatile. Not just a glass, but a testament to your dedication. Celebrate your passion with every sip. The Jiu-Jitsu Shaker Pint Glass. Cheers to mastery. Available now in our store. Go to merch.ringsidereport.net and get yours now.
Strength in every sip.
Here's a programming note from the Ringside Report Network. Every Friday, join Dave Simon along with pro wrestler Johnny Genesis North as they break down the week that was pro wrestling on Wrestling Uncensored. Join them live starting after WWE Smackdown and during AEW Rampage at 10 p.m. Eastern, right here, or as an audio podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to share this broadcast and review our podcasts on Apple Podcasts. It really helps us out. Why not become a member of the Ringside Report universe? Go right now before the show starts to membership.ringsidereport.net. That's membership.ringsidereport.net.
Each and every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, dive deep into the heart of MMA with Ringside Report MMA. Join seasoned analysts Dave Simon, Fred Garcia, and my good friend AJ D'Alexio as they dissect every fight, analyze strategies, and reveal their top betting predictions. From main events to prelims, our trio deep dives into the strengths, weaknesses, and potential game changers for each fighter. Looking to place a bet? Benefit from the expertise of our analysts and get an edge over the competition. Discover lesser-known facts, training camp secrets, and behind-the-scenes tidbits that only our seasoned crew can deliver. Share your fight predictions and be featured in the broadcast. For both new fans and longtime MMA aficionados, Ringside Report MMA is the key to unlocking a richer UFC viewing experience. Become an MMA insider. Don't miss out on our exclusive content. Subscribe now and ensure you ring that bell for timely notifications.
Before we dive into today's action-packed broadcast, check out ringsidereport.net. Explore a wide range of exclusive articles and commentary that are specifically designed for the fans of pro wrestling and MMA. Did you miss a broadcast? No worries. We've expanded them all on our website. And don't forget to hit our store for exclusive merch and other must-have items, ringsidereport.net. Where the real action is.
We've got boosted odds coming. Dave's picks, which means I'm going to give you picks, and on the site, it'll say, like, you know, minus 200 or something, but then I'll call my buddies at Bet99. I'll be like, hey, could we give it a little better? And it'll be like minus 150, so there'll be more value. What? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to add value to the picks. We're going to get boosted odds at Bet99 for the Ringside Report universe. For all the viewers, we're going to give you picks, and then we're going to be like, you know, there's a number here on this at Bet99, but maybe wait till Saturday morning, and there'll be a better number because we're going to give you those boosted odds. They're a sponsor, and I want them to do well, and they're helping the show and all of that, but at the same time, I want to give good picks and take them for everything they got, baby. But they got
Well, that's what it comes down to.
You know what I mean?
Listen,
it's a weird relationship because I'm friendly with them, and I want to do well, and I want them to do well, but I also want us to do well, and for us to do well, we need to take money from them, which is part of the whole. It's part of the game, and they like it, and it's all fun. So we're gonna get some boosted odds, and we'll see how much we can boost them for the viewers, so we can make a lot of cash. Yeah, Randy Orton's back. CM Punk is back. Dave and Johnny are back. It's Wrestling Uncensored time. Guess who's back? It's Johnny North. What up?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Look at everything sounding good, feeling good, living good. Life on the edge, as we do every day. Feeling good, man. We're back. Welcome back to Wrestling Uncensored. Welcome to the show. We weren't on after Survivor Series. We're usually on after all the pay-per-views. CM Punk comes back, and I get COVID. It was rough. I could not have done the show on Saturday night. I was a sweaty mess. It was not a good look. You would not have enjoyed seeing Big Dave in that state, and Big Dave was not able to speak or do any kind of show with any kind of pep in that state. I was pretty rough last week and most of this week, but we're on the mend, getting better, and back, feeling good. So I see guys in the chat. I see Alex Taris, Franco316, Ryan Katz, Angelo, Franco, Jimmy James wondering, what's up with Dave? Is Dave okay? Dave is okay now. Dave is feeling better now. And, yeah, sorry I left you for so long with this CM Punk news. Massive. CM Punk in the WWE, John, right? Huge story. Big surprise. I think the big story is not that CM Punk is in the WWE, is that they managed to keep it a surprise. They managed to keep it a really well-kept secret among 2 or 3 people. And he showed up, and it was an absolute shock to everyone watching. I was really surprised. I was in a semi-comatose state watching the end of Survivor Series, and I kind of was like watching the men's War Games match, like falling in and out of sleep, and then I heard Randy's music play, and I was like, Babyface is won, and I knew it, called it, and then I'm like, I guess they didn't get Punk, because I heard, it sounded like they were wrapping up the show, right? So in my head, I'm like,
credits.
I'm like, they didn't get Punk, I didn't see them hit the credits because my eyes weren't able to focus. But and then I heard and I was like, in my state, I was like, God damn, they got him. I can't believe they got him. And I watched as he came out and celebrated with the fans. And it was cool. It was very cool. Surprised everybody. Everybody in wrestling was just blown away. I mean, I can't say everybody because, there's always some people that are like, whatever, called it, who cares? He sucks anyways. There's always that. But I'm excited to see CM Punk in professional wrestling, right? As you are. He's a good wrestler. I like good wrestlers.
We said it in the Survivor Series preview where Punk in wrestling makes it better. So AEW, that wasn't going to happen. WWE was the next best place. I mean, it was the only place at this point. So it's best for everyone. It's best for wrestling. And I don't know about everyone else. I don't know about you. I was not a big fan of Survivor Series. Did not think it was a very good premium live event. That saved the show.
Yeah. I mean, I like the show. I did see the first match, the women's War Games match, and I really liked that. That was my match of the night.
We can do a quick recap if you want, because we didn't get to do one, right?
Yeah. But, I mean, like I said, I haven't rewatched the show because, whatever. Okay?
Right.
I watched the show in and out of consciousness with a fever. Okay? So.
Right. I get you.
Take that for what it is. But in that state, I enjoyed it. I was enjoying it. It was either that or watching some like Bob's Burgers or Drink Champs, old episode of Drink Champs on my phone. So when it was a new Survivor Series, I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. That's all I had going for me at the time.
Well, it was actually, there's quite a bit going on because you had Rampage Collision. So there was 3 hours of AEW at the same time.
I didn't have the brain power to work through the app and get that going. It's easier to just press one button and get WWE there, you know?
For Montreal, it won't be on the app. Rampage and Collision will be on TSN, apparently. TSN 2, I believe.
Yeah. They'll air the Montreal show on TV. But it's going to be... We'll talk about the AEW stuff later, but just the order of it is going to be all weird, right?
A little bit, yeah. Especially because we've already seen it days before.
Because they're taping Collision before Dynamite, which is just weird. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Anyway, Survivor Series, I liked it. I'm giving it a solid 7, and no, I'm giving it an 8. I gave it an 8 in my mind. Yeah, I loved it.
Whoa. 8.
I mean, the highlights that I saw of the men's match, what I saw of the men's match was cool. They did a lot of cool stuff. I liked how they brought Randy in. Like, is he going to show up? Is he not? And then the cash-in with Damian Priest, the tease of the cash-in, and then Randy coming and saving the cash-in. I thought all of that was good. I thought that was a good angle. I didn't really see any of that coming. The match itself, I thought was, fine. It was what it was. I liked the women's match better, but I thought the men's War Games match was pretty good. They did some crazy, stunts. It was what I expected it to be. Maybe a little bit more because the stunts were good, but again, I had a fever, so. But if I had to grade it, I'd give it an 8. It would be like a 7, 7.5. But man, you had major star power. Randy Orton looking jacked, looked like The Rock when he came out, like that jacked, crazy. Whoa. The traps on this guy, his traps are crazy these days. What's going on? Looks bigger than ever. And
he does, but The Rock is a little bit more in terms of size, but
maybe
Randy looks fantastic.
Randy's huge. Randy's a monster.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
He came out and made Damian Priest look like a cruiserweight. I was like, what? What is this guy? Real heavyweight Randy entered the picture, like super heavyweight, Crazy. Wow.
On SmackDown tonight, too, on Raw.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's a freaking monster. But then I added a whole extra point because of CM Punk. Tremendous. So 8 on 10 for me, Survivor Series. Women's Money in the Bank, or War Games, whatever, was good. I thought that was cool. That thing where EO went to the top and put the garbage can on her head and jumped off, that was scary as hell, man. You don't know, you can't see where you're going. You're blind on that, trying to balance. You fall back, you're dead. I mean, that was crazy.
It took forever for that to happen.
So you got to be sure that you don't die, John. It was a crazy. I get, like, well, it took too long, whatever. They had to stand there. I get it, but like, dude, it was nuts that she did it.
And what was the benefit of that? Like, you land on most of your partners doing this too. This is the problem. Like, War Games might be the worst match in WWE. It is an absolute mess. Like, it is not fun to watch whatsoever. I thought the women's match was not very good because all they did was just hit each other with a bunch of weapons over and over, just backyard wrestling nonstop. And then eventually, there's a match going to happen. This takes like an hour. It's dreadful to watch. I don't know why people like it so much. Yeah, there's cool spots, but you've seen everything already. And then you got to sit through 3-4 other matches to watch another one? Horrific. This is a terrible idea.
Well, that's when you take a nap, John.
For you, maybe, but thought Survivor Series is bad. Like, they got to change this up right away. Go back to the old Survivors. Like, maybe have one of the War Games instead just be a traditional Survivor Series match, just to change it up, because to watch 2 War Games matches, it's way too much. I really dislike this. If not for Randy Orton and CM Punk, this would easily get like a 3 or a 4. It's getting a 6 because of them, but this was just a horrific show. And like, all the other matches could have easily been on Raw or SmackDown. They weren't terrible, but nothing really stood out. Very disappointed with the show. I expected better from WWE. Thankfully, they had the comebacks because without that, well, it's still the worst show of the year because like 6 is really bad for WWE.
Wow. I mean, I
There's
thought Santos beating Dragon Lee was whatever. Rhea and Zoe Stark, I didn't think was particularly outstanding. It was okay. I didn't think it was bad, you know. Gunther
right,
and
they weren't bad matches, but it wasn't anything great.
Gunther and Miz was not much.
Could have been on Raw.
Yeah. But I like the War Games. I thought that men's War Games team, the babyface team, was just so stacked. It was cool to see them operate together. I just like seeing the star power in the ring at the same time, especially considering we hadn't seen Randy in so long. Randy steps into the ring. You got Sammy there with him, Jey Uso, Seth Freakin', Cody Rhodes. It's a cool-ass team. I just enjoyed that. You know, I was like, whoa, this is a hell of a team working together.
But if you think about it, a lot of the same story was also in the women's one. So you're burning through the same things over and over. Oh, can they trust Randy? And why did Randy take forever to show up? That was never explained, not even on Raw. Like, what the heck was that?
Suspense.
Yeah, but there's no purpose, no reason. Like, the whole thing was like, oh, is he coming? Is he coming? And we never get a reason why. There's no payoff to that whatsoever. Just for all the pop for when he comes out. That's it.
I think there might be a payoff for it down the road. Because I read a report that Randy showed up to the building on Raw right before the show started or something. Maybe there's some sort of... No, it didn't
play into the show.
No, but I mean in a real way. Like he actually showed up late for some reason. I don't know.
If this played into the story, it'd be all right. Instead of, I got the call from Cody. I was so happy about it. Do it. Yet you show up late to the show? Like, who do you think you are?
It was weird. Late to the match. To the point where his partners were wondering if he was actually going to show up. It wasn't very nice of him, but he's the Viper, John. He plays by his own rules.
Maybe just explain a little bit, because he had the promo on Raw and didn't touch it whatsoever. Just said, oh, well, now I'm going to go after the people that took me out. That's it.
Yeah.
Good. I enjoyed the promo. I thought Randy, that may have been one of the better Randy Orton promos we've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fantastic promo by Randy. But
yeah,
the biggest thing to explain, he didn't explain it whatsoever. The big story, is Randy going to show up? Maybe it's going to be CM Punk. Didn't explain it at all. Who cares? Show's over.
And of course, we got to see Randy in his big return match on Raw. Who did he wrestle? Dominic Mysterio.
Well, I turned off Raw after that. Thank goodness I don't watch Raw live because that was really stupid. What was that? That's just throwing a guy around, doing whatever I want. Dominic's nothing. And Randy actually tried to give him stuff, and Dominic didn't do anything. And people are saying Dominic's the MVP. Shawn Michaels saying he's the MVP. Man, Shawn's dumb and blind. It's unbelievable.
Well, he's got that one eye. That's a little,
Well, what are you watching here? You see that match? What the heck was that?
No, I don't know. But this is what they do. They feed Dominic and the Judgment Day to everybody that's new. Cody Rhodes wrestled Dominic on freaking pay-per-view thing. Randy wrestles him his first match back. I bet you Punk is going to wrestle him next. That's Punk's first match on WWE Raw. He's going to wrestle Dominic. Let's see. People are agreeing with Johnny North, and that's totally fine. I mean, I should probably agree with you, John. If I was watching it in my right mind, I probably would agree with you. But again, I was half awake watching this pay-per-view because I had real bad COVID, and I'm judging it that way. I love that CM Punk was there because CM Punk is cool. I'm seeing scores here. I want to get to the chat. I'm seeing a lot of action. Jimmy James giving it a 6-ish, agreeing with John. Alex Tarris, 9.5 with CM Punk coming back. which is funny because I remember Alex Tarras hating CM Punk when he was in AEW, which I'm seeing a lot of people that hated Punk in AEW but now are super excited he's in WWE, which I don't understand. I liked him in both companies. I like CM Punk. I think Phil Brooks is a good wrestling entertainer. Angelo Contagones says, watching us on Twitch. Thank you for everybody watching Twitch, Twitter, Facebook. Not Facebook, actually. Fuck Facebook. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. Kick, Rumble. Angelo says, with Punk and Orton coming back, I'd give it a solid 8 on 10. Angelo with me with the 8 there. I'm giving it an 8 on 10. How about a match of the night? Harold Schneider, member for 30 months. Thank you, Harold. Yeah. Member over at join.ringsidereport.net. He says, I am agreeing with Johnny, which is a good call. Good call. Ryan Katz, 8.5 on 10. Leor, member of the team, 4. Leor doesn't like it. Leor did not like Survivor Series.
I get it. Didn't like it either.
I know. I could tell you you didn't like it. You were fired up about Survivor Series. It pissed you off.
We haven't even talked about Seth and his little stupid tantrum he did. Like, how mad that made me. Like, man, was I pissed.
Eric Gudzentis. I'm sorry, Eric. Eric G says Randy isn't going to sit in a cage for a half hour. That's a good point. That might be why. You know what? That's actually not a bad point, because if you sit in the cage, it kind of kills your pop when you get into the ring. You know? Like,
right? No, I get it, but explain. There's a story you're telling, no? Like, you can say, like, why you didn't show up, like, why it took you so long. Never, ever does it. Just forget about it.
I just thought it worked because the pop was monster when he came out. The pop was so huge. That crowd was hot from start to finish, too. That really helped the pay-per-view. Sure. That crowd was really hot in Chicago. They were anticipating something big. There was like a big fight feel in the air. And when Randy Orton finally did show up, because, you know, they think WWE is going to give us Randy Orton, but they're not 100% sure when they're teasing, you know, maybe not. Could have been LA Knight.
I don't know.
You know, it could have been LA Knight.
Them.
Yeah, they did. But, you know, sometimes things change. Nevertheless, that when he did come out, John, the pop was ginormous for Randy, and somehow bigger for Punk.
No, you're right. That's the best way to use Randy, but at least explain it. Like, there's a rhyme and a reason to things, and we never got the reasoning.
Yeah, no.
You have enough time to explain it. You gave Randy, what, like 20 minutes to start Raw?
Yeah. And now Randy's on SmackDown.
Well, they don't care anymore what happened. Survivor Series is in the rear view. Now it's just go ahead, tribute to the troops, you know, Royal Rumble. That's it.
Well, Randy said he wants to go after the bloodline, right? He's upset. He wants revenge for them taking him out. And he's not mad at Jey Uso because Jey Uso's not in the bloodline, so he's safe from the wrath of the Viper. And then we cut to tonight, and Adam Pearce is there, and Brutus Magnus is there. I can never think of his name. I always just think Brutus Magnus. What's his name?
It used to be Nick Aldis. Now they call him Nick Aldis.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Is that everybody's Aldis now? It's not Aldis? They've made a specific change, you think?
I think they just like the way it sounds better, I guess. And I don't think Nick probably complains about it, so.
Anyways, Brutus Magnus from TNA Wrestling. He... I mean, that's how I first... That's a thing in wrestling, right? Like, however you first know the wrestler, that's what you call them forever. In like wrestlers, a lot of the times, you know what I mean?
I mean, like, if they come up with a better name.
Yeah, but it's like those people that call like Mick Foley Jack. Like, there's a group of wrestlers that call him Jack because they've known him as Cactus Jack, even though he spent years and years as Mick Foley and Mankind and all of that, Dude Love for a short time, right? Like, people still go Jack. I'm like that with Brutus Magnus. Okay? I know Brutus Magnus from way back when he was Brutus Magnus. I can just never think of his real name, John, is the point. Anyways, he's the general manager of SmackDown. Nicky James. Thank you, Lior. Nicky James. He was trying to get a contract for Randy to join SmackDown, and he's like, I'll give you the bloodline. And then Adam Pearce is like, I'll give you the winner of Jey Uso, Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title. So Randy's like considering his options. And then Paul Heyman comes out and he's like, well, the bloodline is going to give you your answer. We're going to make up your mind for you, Randy. And here comes Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa to like beat up Randy because they don't like Randy. And Randy fights with them for a bit, and they start to beat up Randy. And LA Knight comes out, and he saves Randy, and him and Solo just kind of brawl and disappear so that Randy can hit his RKO move and pose and do all that stuff. And then he decides to sign with SmackDown, and he tells Paul Heyman to tell Roman Reigns that Daddy's back or whatever, because he's Daddy
home.
now. Daddy's home? He said Daddy's
T-shirt.
home? That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So Daddy's home. So now Randy is on SmackDown, and Paul Heyman is very upset about this. So we're setting up Roman versus Randy for the Rumble, I think, which is pretty cool. I'm down with that. But now SmackDown gets Randy. So Raw was a pretty cool show there for a minute. You know, they had Randy, they had Punk, they had things going. And now they have Punk, although CM Punk is advertised for SmackDown next week. So we'll see about Punk.
Apparently, well, from what I read, Punk is going to be on both shows. Mostly on Raw, I think. But apparently the odd SmackDown occasions like we're going to see next week. Which is great, but I think they should have Punk. Punk should have started SmackDown. It should have been the opposite. How Randy started Raw, Punk ended Raw. Should have been Punk started SmackDown, Randy ended SmackDown. So they should have done.
Little disappointed we didn't get CM Punk on SmackDown because I think CM Punk makes all the shows better.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. Because like they say, oh, this is the biggest like social event ever in WWE history. It's the biggest. And you don't have it on your show? On your A show, like most people watch. I don't get it.
They ran like a clip, right, of Raw.
Well, and saying he's going to be on next week.
Yeah,
that was all they did.
I thought the promo on Raw was pretty uneventful. Like, he didn't say much. He's like, I raised the bar now, and people in the back are going to, come up to my level, and I'm the best in the world, and da-da-da. And I'm like, all right, I've kind of heard this before. I've literally heard this before in this ring, on the microphone, even on commentary, like some of it was recycled. And then the line, I'm here to make money. I'm not here to make friends. Like, I mean, Kevin Nash said that in 1998. It's not like a big deal. I don't know. Like, I'm not super thrilled with what we got as far as the first CM Punk promo. I'd expect him to be like, it's nice to finally be able to work with some adults in the room, something like that. Like, I came here to figure out what to put the professional back into wrestling, some kind of little shotski there to get people buzzing, but there was nothing. And I understand there's NDAs and things where he's not able to discuss what went down with All Elite Wrestling, right? But the promo itself, I expected a little something more. I didn't feel like he said anything to make you go, oh, well, that was nuts, And that's kind of what you've come to expect from CM Punk, so we'll see. I think he definitely changes the game in WWE, but, like as far as the overall landscape and all of that, but I think Randy Orton does too. So they got two game changers there. Like, Randy's a major star. Randy came up with John Cena and Brock Lesnar and Batista. There's nobody left from that generation. Randy came up in a generation prior to CM Punk even. Randy is like a legend at this point of professional wrestling. And I'm not the biggest Randy Orton fan, But even I can recognize, like, the guy's a major star. He still looks like $1 million somehow, like, better than ever, which, I mean, I don't care how he does it. Good for him. Like, he could be on all the steroids. He's still got to lift all the weights, too. Like, it doesn't matter. And if he's fully natural somehow, jeez. But whatever. He's jacked. He's good at what he does. At this point, he's a seasoned veteran. He's a legitimate star. He changes the game in WWE too. And we'll see how CM Punk fits in. Because, like, what does he do? What does he do? And who does he beat? Because you can't say, well, everybody. Because he's 45 years old. He's injury prone. He's not going to be on the road like that. He's going to be part-time, you would figure. I don't think he's going to be doing house shows and stuff like that. And I think that a lot of the guys on the roster will feel a little bit of a way if you start putting them over a bunch of the staple talent in the WWE.
Well, this goes back to the whole Seth thing, right? Seth having that little tantrum.
Which was
Survivor
fake,
Series.
which was not real. That was him working because he's going to do a program with Punk.
And it's ridiculous because you're going to go through all that. It's fine to, like, have that little tantrum, but to be, flipping the bird, like, constantly like that. When there's kids, and we mentioned this on Twitter, right? There's kids in the crowd. Like, and you said, like, oh, we lived in the era with that. And
Stone Cold, man. He was constantly doing that.
But it's a different era. It's not the same era anymore. And plus, like, what's, like, the reward off that? You're doing this off camera, so just people in the audience that are there, who are, a good chunk of them are kids.
There are plant videos that are out there. Like, some of the videos of Punk, like, the people that work for WWE took those videos and put them out there.
Sure. But there's still a lot of kids there. Like, I don't think it was really worth it for Seth to do that. Just for a work, too, like you said.
Kids that go to wrestling shows know what that means, and they know that they're not allowed to do it. My 6-year-old son knows what the middle finger is. He knows what it is, and when he sees somebody do it, he goes, he knows it's bad. And, he knows it's a bad thing to do.
Mr. Role Model.
Huh?
Mr. Role Model Seth is doing it. So you're supposed to like Seth. You're supposed to cheer for him. He's supposed to be a good guy, and he's going out and doing this for whatever reason
Stone
that
Cold was
isn't
a good
really
guy.
Explained. Sure, but that was explained. Seth,
but they're doing a shoot style angle, which is exactly what you need to do with CM Punk. Bring up real heat, bring up whatever, and hash your issues out in the feud, and then have a match. Do a promo, go into business for yourself. Talk about, I'm not defending the World Heavyweight Championship. What's the line? I'm not defending the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm defending WWE from you, right?
We called him a hypocrite, right, on Raw? Not mistaken.
He called Punk a hypocrite, right? I'm not here to talk about hypocrites or whatever. By the way, Seth Rollins, is he a visionary? Is he a revolutionary? Like, what revolution has this man led? He keeps telling us he's a revolutionary, and I'm like, every time he says that, I am a visionary, I am a revolutionary, I am a mercenary, or whatever the fuck the other line is. It's like, what? You are? You just seem like a wrestler in fancy costumes to me. Like, you're cool and all, but you're a revolutionary? I don't think he's revolutionized anything, which is part of the problem with Seth Rollins, is that he's good, but, like, kind of, like, everything he does has kind of been done before and slightly better. Like, he's good, but, like, I think Punk, beating him as world champion, like, a lot of people are like, Punk could be world champion, LA Knight could be world champion, Cody Rhodes could be world champion. Like, people are kind of picking the next world champion while Seth is there. because Seth's run as world champion has been kind of not that interesting.
Well, he's also been on top for how long now, too?
Yeah.
Like, he's been the focal point of Raw for how long? Like, before the World Heavyweight title was the U.S. title, and he's going to make the U.S. title the most important title on Raw. Now he's got his own world title, so now that's the most important title. Like, we've lived through this so much with Seth that it just gets stale after a while. And Punk, it's something different. We haven't seen it in WWE in so long. It's refreshing. And I think we're going to get that match. However, I think the big payoff to me is Punk and Roman Reigns. And if they're going to wait on that, which sadly I think they're probably going to do, you got to keep Punk strong going into that. So I think Punk Seth won't have a clean finish. It's probably going to have Damian Priest do the cash-in to avoid getting a winner on that one.
Maybe. I think Punk could just lose to Seth.
But then to sell the Roman match, it takes away from that, I think.
Roman is a year down the road. Or 6 months.
SummerSlam.
Maybe SummerSlam, yeah, but you could rebuild Punk easily. I think, Punk's not going to beat Seth. I think Punk Seth should be the match at the Rumble.
Or Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. Either way, I think you do that match. I think Punk does not walk out of there as the clear winner. And I'm seeing Eric G. Right. What do you think about the Fightful report that Punk may face Austin at WrestleMania? I like that idea. Austin Punk, yeah. WrestleMania, dream match. If Austin's down to do it, sure. Who wins?
I say Punk. Punk's going to be wrestling there.
I would say Stone Cold Steve.
Why?
Because he's the Texas Rattlesnake and, What do you mean?
Yeah, but, if you put Punk over, that really puts over the Roman match even more.
That's why. What? That's why.
He beat Austin. I'm just telling you, if he beats Austin, it's like, oh, yeah, he could be the guy to beat Roman because he beat Austin. It sells that match more.
I don't know. This dream of Punk Roman, even to me, is. I don't believe CM Punk would be the one to beat Roman Reigns. That'd be ridiculous. That would be the worst thing WWE could do. I love CM Punk and all, but that would be horrible. Roman Reigns losing to CM Punk?
At that point, if it happens to have the match SummerSlam, he've already beaten Hogan's record. So, he can beat Roman at that point.
No.
Come on.
No.
Let's get behind this.
He's too old. He's just too...
Well, let's see him wrestle.
Come on, man. Yeah. He's 45, and every match he has, he gets hurt. He barely wrestled in AEW, and he was getting constantly injured. Be fair, man. I love him, but he's not CM Punk 2011 anymore. He's just not. And I just don't know. Their schedule in the WWE is rough, and they're not going to take it easy on him. This is, it's not going to be easy.
Well, like you said, he's probably not doing house shows, so I think they will take it easy on him.
Yeah.
Because they realize the money that's there.
There's money there.
And by the way.
But,
there's a lot of money.
That I'm home stuff we got to talk about. Because that I'm home. Get the fuck out of here. You're home,
let's
man.
Get back to the promo.
Come on.
Talk about enough.
Yeah. That was ridiculous. I'm home. You hate this place, man. We heard you. We watched your whole AEW run, right? We heard all the promos you said. And you told us you were telling the truth then. So how are we supposed to believe you now? That's my only question. It's just the hypocrisy of it all. I go, wait a second. The place that you were shitting on, that's home? You love this place. This is the best. He's got I don't understand sometimes. Maybe it's all part of a heel character and all of that, but like he just seemed honest. It's weird. It's bizarre.
I feel there's a couple of things at play here. One, he didn't have a lot of time to do this promo. Like, when you were talking about it, I didn't see it at the time. I was kind of shocked that you thought it was kind of mid, the promo. And then when I finally saw it, I was like, 6 minutes? What the heck is this? Like that's not a promo time enough for him to really talk about what he needs to talk about. I mean, he just basically said, yeah, I'm home. That's all he really got to say. And some people don't like me. Like, too bad. I love the fans. And, you know, I'm here to make money. He doesn't have much time to really say anything. So I'm not surprised you felt like the promo didn't have anything. He didn't have enough time to say anything. And I feel the I'm home thing, again, it's to play into the whole Seth thing. Because Seth's going to be like, oh, you're a hypocrite.
Yeah, he should.
It works. So I feel like they're just playing into that angle. And he also mentioned Paul Heyman a bit too.
Yeah, he talked about the wise man. You've got to go somewhere else and come back to get what you want or whatever. Which, you needed Paul Heyman to tell you that? What?
Just, you know. That's just dropping something for later.
Hulk Hogan taught everybody that, friends.
Huh.
That was Terry. Big Terry was told he was working for Vince McMahon Sr., right? He gets a call to do, and this is not one of those Hulk Hogan lies. This is a Hulk Hogan truth, okay? This is a true origin story of Hulk Hogan, right? He's working for Vince Sr. He gets a call. Sylvester Stallone wants him to be in the Rocky movie. He's like, you know, a star, but not gigantic, not a mega, you know, not Hulkamania yet. He's working for Vince's father, right? Vince's father goes, if you do that, like, I'm not going to book you again. Like, that's it. Like, go somewhere else. I don't want you anymore. So he's like, okay. He goes, does the movie, becomes ginormous. Vern Gagne sees him, gets him to Minnesota, starts working there, and then eventually Vince McMahon, because of the popularity of Hulk Hogan and how huge he was after that movie and how huge he became in AWA, Vince McMahon Jr. scoops him up, and the rest is Hulkamania history. Changed wrestling forever. Sometimes you got to go outside and be something to be something even bigger in pro wrestling.
It wasn't even, I don't know, the way I see it now, it's like, it wasn't even like, go somewhere, become a bigger name. It's like, go somewhere, become a star, and then just be bought out pretty much is what happened. Like, Vern Gagne pretty much started Hulkamania.
Yeah.
And then Vince just stole it pretty much.
Yeah. Well, no, but also Vern didn't want to make Hulk the world champion because he wasn't a real wrestler.
Right.
He couldn't actually defend himself. He wasn't really, you know, in the mold of an AWA champion like a Nick Bockwinkel or a guy who could actually hook and shoot and work, right? So he didn't really want to push Hogan to the top. And Vince was like, screw that. It's all about entertainment, pal. Come with me and I'll make you a star in New York. And Hogan's like, all right, brother. Sounds good. It worked. You know? There was that hang up too with Vern, who was like, yeah, I'll push him. I'll use him as like a sideshow, but not as the world champion. And Hogan wanted to make that world champion money. The money, brother.
Oh, and he should. It made sense. If you looked at it back then too, it's like they really should have put the belt on Hogan. And that was ultimately the downfall of AEWA.
Yeah, but, you know, it was a different business back then, and you had to be a real wrestler. Those old-timey wrestlers, they wanted you to be able to really wrestle, really fight, not just look the part. You couldn't just be a bodybuilder. You had to be a guy that could actually fight. You know, like Harley Race was preferred over a guy like Hulk Hogan because Harley was seriously dangerous.
If history has taught us anything, it's that you gotta not always follow tradition. Sometimes you gotta break tradition.
It worked,
and it worked for WWF. It worked for WCW. It worked for ECW for a time. And then WWF stole all those ideas and just used it for themselves.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Yes, and that is what has made the WWF great for over 40 years in sports entertainment, stealing other people's ideas and putting them on their TV. And by God, they've got LA Knight, they've got Cody Rhodes, they've got CM Punk, and they're running wild with it, brother. All gimmicks somewhere else that are mainstays in the WWE, right? Like American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, that's not a WWE original gimmick. CM Punk, he was CM Punk long before the WWE, and LA Knight is Eli Drake with a different name. Yeah.
But in WWE, they can perfect it in a sense, right? Because in all those other places,
they polish it up.
They went as far as they could. And now WWE, they can go even further, make more money. It's good for the wrestlers. Good for them.
Yeah. It is. It is. And I'm super happy to see WWE landing CM Punk. It was super funny to watch Triple H talk about it afterwards. Did you catch the press conference?
Bits and pieces.
This guy's, he knows he has to do it, but he doesn't like him. You could tell he doesn't like him. He's like,
well, you don't be friends with people, you know.
No,
like, you don't be friends. It's like,
God, this is the guy who, when he left, was like, I don't want to be here because I don't want to wrestle Triple H at WrestleMania. It's not worth my time. He said, and I quote, "You need to wrestle me. I don't need to wrestle you." And then CM Punk left the company. Now he's back and Triple H is his boss.
Yeah, the funny part is this would never happen. If Vince was still in charge, this would never happen.
You're right. Vince would not have brought CM Punk back, and CM Punk being back in WWE is officially the sign that Vince has no more power, which is nuts. Like, that's the nail in the coffin. Like, it's okay. That's the sign to me, and it should be the sign to everybody that, like, oh, yeah, they really took all Vince's power. It's gone. He's got no say. Because he would not have allowed CM Punk back in the company. They sued him and lost, right?
Well, that's the doctor's still there. What's his name? Like,
yeah,
or something like
the doctor that Punk talked about in the Colt Cabana podcast still works for WWE. Oh man, it's so crazy that they did this, and there are people there, wrestlers there, that are clearly not happy. Like, you could tell.
AJ Styles, without question, will never wrestle CM Punk in WWE. Will never happen.
Kevin Owens doesn't seem too thrilled. I saw some
comment.
About that
interview.
Yeah, I saw an interview where he's like, yeah, you know, they're like, what about CM Punk? He's like, well, I just want to go to work and have a good time. If he wants to be happy and be cool, then great. You know, it's like, what about, and then he goes, what about Randy? And he's like, you know, Randy is just such a great guy, and I love having Randy around. And he also said Randy is a locker room leader without having to say he's a locker room leader. And I was like, oh shit, that was a shot at Punk. Oh my God. Oh fuck. Yeah. It's starting already.
Well, do you remember the video? There's this time good. Like Kevin's doing like an entrance like 2016, and like a fan yells at him like, go back to Canada or something, and then Kevin's like, oh, go back to Canada, and by the way, you have a lousy t-shirt, and then mocks the whole CM Punk like thing, like, because the guy's wearing a CM Punk shirt.
Yeah.
So there's history there too, but again, Kevin, like, you know, he'll do what's good for business too, so he'll work with Punk if he has to.
Yeah. But that was an interesting comment from Kevin Owens, right? I heard him say that, and I was honest. Like, oh, I know what he's saying there. I know what's going on. There's that famous story about CM Punk, right, where I think Booker T, right?
Talking about the locker room thing?
Yeah, CM Punk saying like, oh, you know, as a locker room leader, and then Booker T pipes in, he's like, Who says you're a locker room leader? Sucker. You know, it's like, what?
Well, remember,
She's like,
Booker
you're not
was
leading
like,
me. Who the fuck? What are you talking about? You know, Booker's like, what? As a locker room leader, right? That was like a story, and I think Booker has confirmed it. You know, which is great. I don't think he likes Punk. A lot of people in wrestling seem to not like Punk, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they're good friends with the Young Bucks, who I don't think like Punk too much to this day. I think they probably have some negative things to say, and I'm sure that Kevin and Sammy have got the story of what's gone on in a way from the Bucks or people around them. I mean, you know, he comes in with a lot of heat, is what I'm saying. There's a lot of heat around CM Punk this time around.
He's created more division, I think, within wrestling fans now with the whole story that came out with Bryan Danielson. So now there's even more strife, I think, within the wrestling community, I think, because of that.
Oh, well, right. So Fightful, I think, again reported that Bryan Danielson was part of a disciplinary committee that ultimately decided to fire CM Punk from AEW. And people are basically blaming Bryan Danielson for firing CM Punk, but he was part of a committee with other people that were lawyers and stuff. Like, he was just, you know, a representative of the locker room on a panel of people reviewing some facts. And if anybody is going to be representing the locker room, it should be Bryan Danielson, because he's the only adult in the room, it seems like. And if you see his comments, they're always very measured and balanced and complimentary of Punk. Wishes it could have gone another way. Very talented, big fan. You know, like, Bryan Danielson is always the utmost professional, never says anything that you would go, ooh, that was a shot at this guy. Like, he's not doing that stuff. Bryan Danielson is an A1 level person, a real guy who I have the utmost respect for. And, yeah, he should be part of that committee. And it should be a committee of just Bryan Danielson, and he should be judge, jury, and executioner for all things professional wrestling. Forget AEW. He should run the whole business. All decisions should go through Bryan Danielson. It should be Bryan and Bret Hart at a table deciding everything in wrestling. Just those two guys deciding everything that happens. Should this be allowed in wrestling? I don't know. Talk to Bryan and Bret. Should Ric Flair be allowed to cut these crazy promos on Rampage? Ask Bryan and Bret. It's their decision. Those guys run wrestling. As far as I'm concerned, whatever they say goes.
Well, you can imagine, I don't know if you saw it, but I saw a lot of mean things about Bryan Danielson this week.
I don't see any of that. I don't tolerate that.
Oh, I saw a lot of that.
People don't say any of that to me, and I don't go looking for any of that because I have no tolerance for anything negative Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson is the greatest living professional wrestler today. He's the best. He is an upstanding individual. He has been nothing but class his entire career. Come on.
Well,
like universally respected among his peers. Like, the guy is the best. No one says anything bad about Bryan Danielson ever. And people only talk about him with reverence. You can't say the same thing about CM Punk. You just can't. And if people want to go and take sides, take that for a side. I'm firmly in Bryan Danielson's camp, but if you look at pro wrestling as a whole, like, everybody goes, yeah, Bryan is a great guy. Bryan is the best.
I feel Eddie Kingston would say differently, but
Eddie Kingston would say differently about CM Punk too. Eddie Kingston hates everybody.
Right.
Eddie Kingston hates Claudio Castagnoli. You think anybody else hates Claudio Castagnoli? I don't think so. Guy seems lovely.
We'll get to Eddie with the Dynamite thing.
I've talked to Claudio Castagnoli. He was lovely. So was Bryan Danielson. Punk was a little prickly. You know?
Different.
He was like a little. He was like a little. You know. I didn't get a great vibe off Punk. When I spoke to Bryan Danielson, classy individual. Claudio Castagnoli, same deal. Cody Rhodes, same deal. Hulk Hogan, same deal. Even Shawn Michaels.
Impressive. I'm surprised about Shawn. But you can't deny it looks bad in a sense where it's like Bryan helped get Punk fired, and then Bryan takes over Collision, which was Punk's show.
Made it better.
So that looks, you can debate that, fine, whatever. I didn't see all of I saw Collision last week. It was okay. Bryan was not on the show, by the way.
But I know he'll be on the show tomorrow night. He's wrestling tomorrow night. Isn't he wrestling Eddie Kingston?
Eddie Kingston.
Oh, shit.
He is.
Yes. It's going to be great.
And you imagine he'll probably be wrestling Montreal, too, for Collision.
I'm hoping.
You would think.
Well, they're doing this tournament, right? So they got to keep these matches going. And Bryan's a match behind, so he better wrestle.
Should.
Well, I'm on Team Bryan Danielson. And I'm on Team Pro Wrestling. And I think, as the great Jim Ross would say, business just picked up. In AEW and in WWE. I think things in AEW are looking great. There's great wrestling. Attendance seems down, but the product in the ring is really good. And, I look at AEW and I think not, the things that are critical successes are not always the most commercially successful. Just because you're well reviewed doesn't mean you're going to make big bucks. And AEW to me is just like, a show that will appeal to critics of professional wrestling, of which we are among seemingly millions now. I know like we started the show, there was like a few recap shows. We did it on the radio, podcasting wasn't really a thing. Now we do like the same show that we've been doing for 20 years or however long at this point. And there's like billions of them out there. It's crazy. But I think pro wrestling is in a good spot right now. A lot of people into wrestling.
Well, a lot of people were saying after Survivor Series, AEW is dead kind of thing. I don't believe that. It's too bad it didn't work out for Punk and AEW, but it's probably for the best we all move on. That they moved on. I think the fans should move on. And, not worry about who the devil is. Let that just play out. It's not going to be Punk. It's going to be somebody else. Just enjoy what they have or don't enjoy what they have. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to Dynamite Montreal. I don't know if you've seen the latest attendance numbers. They look pretty bad.
Yeah.
So you should, if you're going to go to Montreal or interested, probably go because they might not come back anytime soon because attendance looks terrible, sadly.
Yeah, they've done a really bad job of marketing the two Montreal shows. They've got Collision on Tuesday. They've got Dynamite on Wednesday. They haven't, I just saw the graphics on the screen during Rampage that I have in front of me. And they showed, Bell Center, Montreal, but they should be showing those graphics months in advance. They should have some sort of commercials going in the local market, There's just been no promotion for these shows, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's not doing so well attendance-wise here. But I think, there are a number of reasons why it's not doing so well attendance-wise here. I think Collision being a show that's not on TV at all in Canada, Rampage either.
Right.
Those shows aren't really on TV here, so people aren't really aware of them. And Dynamite, it's getting a little bit better attendance than the Collision shows, but still not that good.
Who are we getting? We don't know.
Well, that's
yet,
it.
Really.
We have no idea.
A big problem.
You have no idea.
Well, no, we have a little bit of an idea, but not enough for Collision. Which is, that's a show you really got to sell.
Yeah.
It's hard to sell. And to be fair, the ticket prices are just way too high.
Yeah.
For what they're trying to sell. If you're not going to give us enough matches, come on. That's ridiculous for the price.
It just, they didn't really understand the market. They didn't do a lot of promotion. I think booking the Bell Center for 2 nights of just TV, like unless you're going to do a pay-per-view here, people aren't going to show up. Like people won't show up for 2 straight nights of TV. And I think that they overestimated the interest. I think that they figured, first time in Montreal, we're going to sell out this building. It's going to be great. And it's far from that. It's like a 20,000 seat capacity arena, and they've got maybe just under 3,000 for Collision and under 5,000 for Dynamite.
I mean, they'll probably get over 5,000, but I mean, that's
hope.
not impressive.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. And, I think booking 2 nights at the Bell Center for AEW just for TV on a Tuesday and Wednesday night, middle of the school week, it's rough.
There's still school?
There is next week, yeah. What do you mean?
Okay, next week. Well,
there's been school all week.
The week after, though, I don't know if there's school because I was told
it's like 4 days.
think...
There's strike coming, another strike coming, more strike days, 4 more days. I think it's the next Friday and then the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I think he's back on Thursday. I'm aware of what's going on in the schools, John. I got a son in grade 1, so I'm well aware of what's happening when he's
okay.
But there is school. He was in school all week this week, so that was good.
That's good. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, enjoy it while you have it.
The children must learn. He was in school today, and I was eating baby squid with my daughter. Very fancy. She was eating some fancy food today. Shrimp and squid and scallops. Living it up with her grandfather and me. Tremendous. Anyways.
Cool.
Yeah, we had a good time. So, AEW, we've got Edge versus Christian for Dynamite, which I'm very excited about. But we don't really know what else is happening. And the low attendance, it just makes me sad. Well, MJF, right? MJF and Samoa Joe versus 2 mystery guys that are friends with the devil or whatever. They're involved with this mysterious devil character. And maybe MJF and Samoa Joe will beat these mystery guys and unmask them, and we will find out a little bit more about who the devil might be.
Possibly. At least we're getting MJF Samoa Joe wrestling. That's pretty good. I'm happy about that.
But is MJF okay? Because he came out on Dynamite this week with a cane, and apparently he's got like a torn labrum, and is he wrestling?
Well, he's going to appear. Is he going to do much? Probably not. But him just showing up, really just doing a promo, I'd be happy with that. I don't need to see him, bump around like crazy. It's probably where he doesn't bump around like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
We just need him to show up, which he'll be there. So that's great.
Yeah. The day before Hanukkah, we get to see MJF. I mean, it's pretty good.
It's not bad.
I'm pretty excited about that. That's good Hanukkah for me. I love it. It's a big week next week. I got Collision Tuesday, Wednesday Dynamite, Thursday, first night of Hanukkah. Let's go. Good times. MJF and Samoa Joe is the main event for World's End, too. We got that news this week. It's going to be MJF versus Samoa Joe, AEW World Title, Long Island, December 30th. I'm good with it. I like the promo from MJF talking about Samoa Joe and how he respects Samoa Joe because he didn't come to AEW to line his pockets. He came here because he believes in the company. That was a shot. That was a shot at Punk.
Was it Punk or just like almost a lot of guys who would just come from WWE and just leave?
Like who?
I don't want to say Sean Spears did that, but it kind of felt like, he was there and then gone and just took a job kind of thing. I don't know if he's talking about guys like that. Well, exactly. Where is he?
Well, isn't he? But it's not like he went back to WWE or anything.
No, but, just took the money. That's it. Zack Ryder, he was there for a little bit, then gone. I thought he was referring to guys like that.
I didn't. I think a lot of people took it as a shot at Punk, but anyways, you think MJF's going to drop the...
Too.
Huh? Did he say Punk?
He mentioned all the guys he beat, right? He said CM Punk got some boos.
Do you think Joe beats him?
It's tough right now because, if he's hurt, I mean, probably. I think he probably should. But is Joe the guy they want to be the champion is the question now, because you would think this devil thing would be revealed before that would all happen, right? I'm all for making Joe the champion, but I don't see him being the champion unless the devil gets revealed.
Maybe the devil is Adam Cole, and maybe he wants Samoa Joe to be champion because they have some sort of evil plan against MJF. Ring of Honor guys, older guys, trying to keep the young guys down or something.
I mean, as long as they got it figured out. That's not a great storyline, but...
No, I don't know.
As long as they got it flushed out. I mean, to me, the way it was all put together, it kind of felt like Retribution. Did it not? So Mustafa Ali, I think, would be the guy at this point.
Ugh. That'd be pretty weird. I hope they don't put him in a gimmick like that if they do have him. Who could they have, like, from the outside that they could bring in as the devil? That would be like, oh, shit.
I mean, they're going to wait long enough, so Dolph Ziggler could be it. It's not possible.
Would that be earth-shattering?
I don't think so. I mean, really, in terms of names, they only have Adam Cole and Jack Perry at this point.
Yeah. People were kind of reaching with CM Punk, and now it's not happening. And I think that, Jungle Boy is probably your best bet. Or Sammy Guevara, or a combination of both.
Well, Sammy just had a kid. I feel like they might bring him back as a babyface again.
Just because you had a kid doesn't mean you're a babyface. Matt Riddle just had a kid.
Well, where's Matt Riddle? Like, just insulting CM Punk now on Twitter now. That's all he does.
He's wrestling at an indie in Mexico because he's been blackballed from the business.
I don't know. I could see him in AEW one day.
I can't. I don't think
Really?
they're going to do that. Nope. I don't think they're going in that direction. People seem to dislike Matt Riddle in wrestling more than they dislike CM Punk.
Well, he didn't do himself any favors with that tweet, I think.
What did he say? About Punk?
He said, good luck WWE with 0-2 Punk or something.
Okay. Yeah, because he was 0-2 in the UFC. I did see some people saying, oh, CM Punk, he could beat up Seth Rollins, he could beat up Roman Reigns, and da-da-da. I'm like...
Seth? I mean, come on. You saw
maybe,
Seth.
Maybe, but I think he'd probably have, it wouldn't be an easy ride with Roman Reigns. The guy was a Division I football player. He's a pretty jacked dude. He's also got several years on Punk, There's a lot of guys in WWE that could beat up CM Punk, which is a different vibe than he had in AEW. Like in AEW, it's not like a huge roster. There's not a lot of guys. Huge, I mean, like size-wise,
Right.
Not a lot of guys that could give CM Punk any kind of real physical problems in a real, like, intimidating way. WWE, different story. You're walking into the land of monsters who could, like, push you and throw you halfway across a room. So he can't throw his weight around the same way,
Well, he's just trying to behave at this point, He's just trying to be
For
there,
now.
make money.
For now. How long do you think it lasts before something happens?
I think he's got I think it's going to go as long as he wants to wrestle. So I would say at least 2 years. I don't know if we're going to get more than 2 years out of Punk.
If he wanted to just wrestle and have no drama, he could have stayed in AEW and not done that promo with Tony Khan after the pay-per-view. He could have kept his mouth shut if he wanted to just wrestle.
I mean, it's too bad, but looking back on it, that's some of the best stuff, though, that happened. Like, that was beyond entertaining watching.
Well, yeah. It's all been a very entertaining show, but the problem is a lot of it with CM Punk has been real. Like, he actually got fired from AEW and now is in WWE with a bunch of guys who he has burned bridges with, and, you know, a bunch of guys whose friends he's attacked, you know? Like, it's... I'm just saying it might not be the easiest road. He's got to be on his best behavior now, but at a certain point, you got to go, man. Just the way Triple H was talking about him, like, yeah, we had big returns tonight, R-Truth and Randy Orton, and just the way he talked about Randy. It was similar to the way Kevin Owens talked about Randy, you know? Randy's so great, da-da-da. All this love.
Right.
And then when he talks about CM Punk, it's like, well, everybody changes in 10 years. If you haven't changed after 10 years, then you're the asshole, basically. And I was like, yeah, okay. So basically what you're saying is if CM Punk hasn't changed in 10 years, then he's still an asshole. You know, like with CM Punk, it was like
3 months ago, but
it was
still.
like, yeah, well, you know, he's changed. He's not so bad anymore, guys. Hell froze over, I guess. Like, that was the whole thing. That's the whole vibe of WWE. Like, can you believe we brought this guy back? We hate him. You know, like, it's so weird. It's bizarre.
Well,
the whole rollout of Punk, the way Triple H has talked about Punk. You could read between the lines with this guy. He knows what's best for business, but he doesn't have to like it. You know? Ugh.
Well, they have him. You got to make the most you can out of him.
Angelo Contagona says, do wrestlers really have a legitimate beef with Punk? I mean, I would say some of them, yeah. He's fought some guys, right? Like Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Those guys have a beef with Punk, it seems like. Jungle Boy seems to have a beef with Punk. Tony Khan feared for his life.
AJ Styles will never work with him.
Hasn't Punk called him a racist, just outright?
He implied he's a racist, which is pretty bad. And then AJ said, like, you know, this isn't even worth talking about.
Seth Rollins has said some things about Punk publicly, you know, that he doesn't like him and he didn't, you know, he had problems with him.
But he also said, too, though.
Yeah, he also said, oh, I'd work with him and everything, so.
Yeah.
I think the Seth stuff is mostly made up, but there's probably something there. But yeah, I think he rubs people the wrong way. I mean, obviously his whole career, he's had a lot of issues with people. And I think he's trying to mend fences now because he has to work with a lot of these people and he wants to get along and he wants it all to be nice. But he was like that when he signed with AEW too. You don't sign to a new place and go in on day one and go, this is going to be awful. You sign thinking, oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be great. And then over time, something happens. You have this conversation. You have that conversation. You lose this match. You get your promo time cut because Randy had to wrestle Dominic Mysterio. This happens. You're tired. You're cranky. You're whatever. I'm tired and I'm working with children like Dominic Mysterio. Right? And then all of a sudden, it's not so rosy anymore. And he says something and people go, what? And then he punches somebody, apparently. Like, here's the thing. CM Punk, it's not like this guy is the most easygoing guy. He's got into 2 physical altercations in AEW that we know of in the past year and a half. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, but like a lot of it was because, you know, he was provoked.
Not his fault. Like, I mean, come on, dude. It can't always not be his fault. It can't. And, like, he's great on TV, and I'm happy that wrestling companies continue to roll the dice with this dude, because clearly he's unhinged. But I'm good with it. He's super cool to watch on wrestling TV. So, like, I don't care. I don't have to work with him. I don't know anybody that works in WWE. I am removed from this. It's just a show on TV for me, which is how I want it. And, like, whatever. It's fine for me, but you see what happens. I just, like, I think it's fun to take bets on how long it's going to last. Because I give it a year, and then explosion. Something will happen. He'll beat up Triple H. He'll kill Triple H because Triple H is like a real heart issue, you know? And it'll be bad. And he'll go to jail for murder, like Sonny did. Not murder, but Sonny went to jail for hitting somebody with her car while she was drunk, and the person died. I think it was manslaughter with a vehicle or something. You know, she got like 17 years in prison with possibility for more for some reason. They're like, maybe we'll give you more jail time, Sonny. And I think Sonny may die in jail, which I hope is not the fate for CM Punk. But I'm just saying, I don't think it's going to be good. I think CM Punk at the end of the day is going to be Dark Side of the Ring. Dark Side of the Ring for sure. This WWE run is not going to end with a Hall of Fame ceremony. And wow, isn't CM Punk great? He really changed. He's like Shawn Michaels. He found Jesus. You know, that's not the end of the story. The end of the story is not a Hall of Fame ring. The end of the story is we wish CM Punk the best in his future endeavors. Maybe not, actually. It might be a lawsuit or, you know, non-disclosure agreements. He doesn't leave companies well.
Well, I like to think that it's not going to end so terribly. I think he's got a fresh start now.
You're so optimistic.
And he said he's changed.
Too. He said he's changed. You're such a fan, though, John. You do love him more than you should. You know, like you just, yeah. He's a man, John. He's just a man.
I just find it interesting that, like, within the span of less than a year, he's like, I'm having the best year of my life here. This is the best time in wrestling, best moments I've had. He's writing this down, and then everything goes to hell, and now everything's good again because he's out. Because AEW must have been really bad for him. And the fact that he's out now and like he can actually start anew, like, to me, like, this is what he needed. This is what I think a lot of people needed.
I cannot wait until he goes to Saudi Arabia with WWE and he has to deactivate all of his social media permanently because he will be inundated with messages telling him to go suck a blood money covered dick, which is what he told The Miz to go do.
Yep.
Because everybody will shove that down his throat. Literally. Fuck.
Like, again, I feel like
there's so much he can't do. There's so much he can't do. Like, the promo he cut out with MJF, he's like, go, keep talking about WWE. You think the grass is greener. Go main event night 4 of a buy one, get one free thing. Like, he's just shitting on WrestleMania. He's like, go there, it sucks. You're a nobody. Like, it's garbage there. This was like 6 months ago. He's cutting his promo. It's ridiculous.
Well, remember what MJF said about Punk?
Yeah, that he's just there for the money and he'll be gone soon.
Well, and that it's not the same Punk anymore. It was PG Punk.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people I saw a lot of people saying that after the Raw promo, and you know, maybe it is.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's because, like, he's not angry anymore. If you remember the AEW promo when he came back, he said he was angry, and he let a lot of that out there in that promo.
Now he's not angry anymore. Oh, sure, he's not angry anymore. Sure.
Well, what's he have to be angry about?
Well, somebody sent him that Kevin Owens clip, and he's like, "What the fuck is Kevin Owens? Can you believe this guy?" You don't think he's mad about that? Oh, he's petty. Come on, man. He's so petty. CM Punk is super petty. He's mad about that. He's for sure mad.
He seemed very happy about the whole, like, seeing Randy, waving to Randy and, like, smiling. And
sure, waving to Randy. Did he wave to anybody else?
I don't know if he waved at anybody else, but, you know, again, not there to make friends.
Nope. Corey Graves shitting on him on Twitter after he lost his UFC fight. You remember that? Corey Graves
remember that.
Right there.
Of course.
So much. He left the WWE. Everybody in WWE was like, yeah, when he left, he stopped talking to everybody in the company forever. All of his friends, we can't reach him, nothing. He just kind of ghosted all of us. We thought we were close.
But that's so inspiring, though, is that he was able to come back after all that. It kind of goes to show you, like, it's possible to forgive.
When no other big wrestling company will take you and you can't fight MMA at all and there's a lot of money on the table, it's possible to forgive, all right. Like John Moxley. You see the John Moxley promo on Punk there that's resurfaced? Like, you talk about like you love AEW. You just came to AEW because you ran out of money. Fragile ego, fragile body, fragile spirit. I was like, fuck. I watched that promo again. That was going on Twitter, and I was like,
right.
I was really into John Moxley at that moment. I was like, man, he killed Punk. Like, he fucking obliterated him. And John Moxley does not like CM Punk. It was all of that, you know? I never seen a Rocky movie. Punk's all mad. Remember that?
Yes. And then Moxley had to go on Renee's podcast and explain himself.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think Moxley had to do that,
fragile ego, fragile body, fragile spirit. And that's going to be on display. John Moxley, I can't believe I'm quoting this, man. If you would have listened to this show 10, 12 years ago, you know, when Dean Ambrose was around, you'd be like, how is Dave quoting this guy? But I'm telling you, John Moxley, and I'll say something else. Since he got clean and sober, like, he's really turned, and like, since he came back from rehab and everything, like, he's really turned it on. He's been on fire. He looks great. Like, it's really suited him, you know, whatever he's doing. You know, I don't know how he's working or whatever. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that, yeah, I've noticed, and he looks great, and he's doing a really good job. He's really sharp, and all his wrestling, like his professional wrestling that he's done since he's come back, has been really top-notch, and that's coming from me, who was a really harsh critic of Dean Ambrose. I did not like Dean Ambrose at all, but I really like John Moxley, especially these days. He's been on fire, you know? So
I'll agree with a couple of matches, not every match. Some matches where it's like, especially the hardcore matches, like, okay, you're going a little too far with the bleeding sometimes. But I thought his match this week, I think against Jay Lethal, it started Dynamite. Thought that was an excellent match to start the show.
Yeah. I thought it was very good too. And he's always, like, he does a good job of bringing the element of danger. Like, he always does seem kind of dangerous and kind of violent, you know? I like the violence.
And you probably haven't seen the promo that he cut online because, you know, you watch enough AEW, you don't need to watch the online content, but he cut an excellent promo online. They'll probably air it eventually, I think, but it was a very good promo.
I like him. I like John Moxley. Roosh beat Mark Briscoe in that tournament this week. What else happened on Dynamite?
Don't forget, you know, Brian the Pirate was there.
Brian the Pirate. Our matey. He's wearing an eye patch in the tournament. Is he going to be wrestling with that eye patch on?
I hope so. Like, he's doing promos, like he's doing interviews, like, with podcasts with it, so why not?
You should have Jean-Pierre Lafitte in his corner in Montreal.
I saw he said that, but apparently he signed with TNA, so it's not going to happen.
Did he, though?
Yeah, he did. He made a big thing about it. Yeah. It's not happening.
That's
sorry.
Bad. Well, it would have been fun to see PCO, like, at the Bell Center, you know? AEW comes to town, they bring in... it'd be cool if they brought somebody in. Maybe Jacques Rougeau will make an appearance.
I talked to Jacques. It's not happening, sadly.
Oh, wow.
Hopefully Jimmy Prophet shows up.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That'd be great.
Inside scoops.
Christian will wrestle Edge on Dynamite for the TNT title, which is amazing. I'm so excited. We get this match. Right, we get to see this match in person. It's going to be the main event of Dynamite. It's going to be incredible. And the promo this week from Christian was great, where he was like, you know, let's be friends, Edge. And then in the end, he's like, actually, no. And then he tries to hit him with the belt, but Edge saw it coming and kicks him in the balls. Tells Christian to
the best part of
go
the promo.
fuck himself. Which part? Where he said Edge has a father and he's dead?
Exactly. No, Edge, you don't have a father.
Oh, you don't have a father. So my father acted in that spot for you, right? Like
Right.
My father was your father, Edge, which made us brothers. And I love you, Edge. Like I was not Edge, Adam, right? Because they can't call him Edge, but for the purposes of this show and wrestling, he's Edge. It's very hard for me to call him Adam Copeland. I can't get excited for Christian Cage versus Adam Copeland, but I can get excited for Edge versus Christian for the TNT title. You know what I mean? It just doesn't sound cool.
I mean, it's the Rated R Superstar versus Christian.
Yeah.
You can say that.
Sure. I can say Edge, too, if I want to. Because he's Edge, by God. That's a cool match. You think Edge is going to win the belt?
I think there's going to be shenanigans. I think Christian will retain somehow. I think maybe
the pop, though. If he won, the pop will be bananas.
Oh, yeah. I would love for Edge to win, but I think Nick Wayne's mom is going to interfere or something, side with Christian. I could see all of his, like, followers come back, maybe a new follower, possibly. I think Christian will find a way to retain the title.
I'm very happy that we're getting this match. I'm very happy we get to see Edge versus Christian. I've got my tickets. I'm there. Tremendous.
I'm there too.
Great. I hope to see you there. And you know what, John? There'll be so few people in attendance, it'll be probably very easy to see you.
You always see me because I don't know how you do it, but you're able to find me all the time. So
you're pretty big. You stand out in the crowd.
I do.
Yeah.
It's okay. I have good seats usually too, so it's all right.
Nice. Well, you'll let me know after the show where you're sitting, and we'll figure it out.
I don't know yet. I'm no day of, actually.
Oh, okay then.
That's how that works.
Are you going to Collision too?
I don't know yet. Dynamite for sure. Collision maybe.
I'm going to both. I'm hyped. Swerve beat Jay White in the main event to get 3 more points in the Continental Classic tournament. A little bit surprised to see Swerve get the clean win over Jay White. Like, Jay White losing again here?
Well, not again. Like, he won his first match.
Yeah, but he just lost to MJF.
Right. I get you. I'm surprised, too. I had Jay winning this, but he lost.
They're pushing Swerve real hard.
Swerve might win the bracket. It's possible.
Is Swerve the first guy to beat Hangman in Texas Deathmatch?
I think so. I only know Hangman in one other one, which was Moxley. Has he had another one besides Moxley and Swerve?
Didn't he have one with Lance Archer maybe on TV?
Maybe. I don't remember that one. It's possible.
Swerve wins. I like this tournament that they're doing, the Continental Classic. Moxley still ahead of the Gold League with 6 points. He's won both his matches over Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal now. Swerve, though, tied for the lead with Moxley, leading the league with 6 points, wins over Jay Lethal and now Jay White. And Jay White is like a big one. Now all Swerve has to do is wrestle Roosh, Mark Briscoe, and you figure those are going to be wins. And then I think the big match in this league is going to be Swerve versus Moxley to figure out who wins the whole thing. That's what it's looking like.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
I'm kind of hoping it's Swerve because Moxley seems too predictable.
Yeah.
But either way. And because it feels like Brian's probably going to come out in the blue bracket, I think.
The Blue League, as they're calling it, is still unclear to me. I think we're going to have a bunch of matches for that tomorrow on Collision, right? So we've only had opening matches in that tournament, in that side of the bracket.
Brian and Kingston. I don't know if you caught Kingston's promo on Dynamite. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was all right.
Kind of crying a bit.
Yeah. Cry me a river, you're losing to D-Bry.
Well, Brian destroyed him afterwards, saying that, one loss and you falter like this, like, I got a bad eye and I'm already on a hot streak.
Yeah. He's the best. Claudio Castagnoli won his match over Daniel Garcia, so he is tied atop that league right now with 3 points. Brody King also won his match over Eddie Kingston, so he's got 3 points, tied with Claudio, and Daniel Garcia and Eddie Kingston with 0 points. Andrade and Bryan Danielson have not wrestled their first matches in the Blue League. So that'll start for them tomorrow, and then that'll be that. I guess Bryan and Andrade will wrestle each other to close out the Blue League to kind of wrap up the round robin.
What's going to have to happen is they're going to have to wrestle on Rampage to make up for it, I think, at some point. I think that's going to have to happen.
Maybe.
It's Claudio versus Brody King, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And Andrade, I think, against Daniel Garcia.
Yeah. And Bryan versus Eddie Kingston. And that's all tomorrow night on Collision. And then I'm hoping that after Collision, we'll find out more about what to expect on next week's episode of Collision, which is going to be taped Tuesday night in Montreal here at the Bell Center before Dynamite, which is weird. Because usually they announce what to expect on Collision on Dynamite. Because Dynamite airs Wednesday and Collision airs Saturday. But they're taping Collision before Dynamite. So I'm hoping that on Collision, at least, they give us more of an idea what to expect Tuesday, because we're going in blind for Tuesday night. We have no idea what to, like, anything for Tuesday.
Right.
Nothing is advertised.
It's not a good sell.
It's terrible.
We don't even know if we're getting Flair or Sting. I'm worried that we're not going to get Flair and Sting now because of the controversy with Ric Flair.
Yes.
I don't know if they're going to make it.
Like, can people chill out with Ric Flair? Like, it's his gimmick. Like, I know he's done some inappropriate things in his life, but at this point, he's a confused old man who just wants one last run with his friend. He just seems sad at this point. And he said in a promo on Rampage, all 18 to 28-year-old women report to the Marriott or whatever to come see the Nature Boy, Space Mountain.
I don't know if he said Space Mountain.
Whatever. Woo! You know what I mean? Like, he's been saying this for 100 years. Like, this is not a new line. He says these things. Kissing the girls, making them cry. If he says that, is that, like, can he not say that anymore?
Apparently you can't have a gimmick anymore.
I mean, it's his gimmick. It's been his gimmick forever. He's super old. He's Charlotte's dad. Could we just, like, give him a pass and let him be on TV for a few minutes every once in a while? Like, he's Ric Flair, and also, for all the men that are upset about this, like, I understand women being upset with Ric Flair because he's gross, but women also need to understand. Now, women need to understand this, okay?
This will be fun.
This is going to be great. Now, as hard and crazy as it is for you to maybe fathom, ladies, at one point in time in, like, the 70s, women wanted to have sex with Ric Flair.
I think the 80s, too, and the 90s, to be fair.
The 90s, I think they were getting tired of his act. But maybe in the 80s, they were still vibing on the whatever he had going on. The ladies in North Carolina were really into what he was putting down there as the Nature Boy, right?
Yeah.
So, like, it was working for him for a time. So his mind is not, it can't compute why it doesn't quite work the same way now. And also, if you ever in your life, men, now I'm talking to, said, girls 18 to 28 all report to the Marriott, and then after your wrestling match, you went down with your friends to your hotel, thinking that was a funny line I said on TV there, maybe it'll be a couple ladies here. You go down, and there's like 200 women, and they all want to have sex with you and your friends, and that worked one time. You would repeat that line every single time you had a live microphone and a TV forever. You would always be like, guys, and you would tell your friends, look, this may sound crazy, but one time I said, all the ladies, 18 to 28, come down to the Marriott, and like 200 ladies showed up. They'd be like, do it again. I don't believe you. Do it again. Your friends would implore you to please reproduce this magic trick that you have just produced, right? Like, you can't blame Ric Flair for living the life that Ric Flair has lived, because he has lived that life and it has worked for him up until this point where he's old and gross and it's like, please, sir, put that away. You know? It's just he's living in a different time in his mind, and it's weird that we don't allow old people to have that anymore. You know, like, oh, this old lady's racist. It's like, well, she's an old racist lady. She's, 95 years old. She doesn't know any better. Now it's like, fuck that lady. She's a piece of shit. I hate that lady. I hope she dies. And it's like, well, give it 5 minutes, baby. I mean, what do you think? What do you think's going to happen here? Like, I don't understand what's happened. Everybody's so upset about everything. And I feel like old people used to get a pass because they're from a different time that they don't get anymore. And I think Ric Flair should get the old man pass at this point. It's like, he's confused. Have you seen him? He's full of liver spots and shit. He looks terrible. He's nearly died like 1 million times. And people are still like, off with his head. I hate him. And the problem is, too, if he dies tomorrow, which could easily happen because look at the state of him, people will be like, oh, Ric Flair, he was the best. What a legend. I hope prayers for his family. When today they're like, fuck him. I hope he dies. I want him off TV. It's just like, can we all just be cool for a minute? Like, do you have to be mad about everything in wrestling all of the time? Especially when it's like Ric Flair, where you go, all right, you know what he's like. You know how he is. But he's also given his whole life to this shit. Nothing gives him any pleasure but pro wrestling. So let the old fuck have his moment. Like, he's been through a lot. Let him have it. It's not that important. It's important as hell to him. And I bet you that it's way more important for him to have these moments with Sting than it is for you to be upset about it for 5 minutes and you'll forget about it in 6 months. You'll forget you were mad about what? In 6 months. And Ric Flair will remember this shit because it means something to him in his life. Because this is his life. He's actually a human. There's just no empathy for anybody anymore. And it's like, come on, guys. I get it. He's probably shitty. He takes his penis out when he shouldn't. It's not good. But, like, the allegations against him are not, I mean, they're not good, but they're not horrifically violent, and you know what I mean? Like, he pulled his dick out and a flight attendant didn't like it, and she felt a little trapped in the hallway near him. And, nobody really did anything. And, yeah, I mean, it's horrible what happened to her. On that dark side of the ring, like, Ric Flair did not come off looking very good there. But, like, I don't want to excuse that behavior. You know what I mean? Like, it's not good behavior. And somebody should have smacked Ric Flair in the face. She should have kicked him in the dick. I mean, that's what you get. But to say, like, well, fuck him and he should disappear from wrestling forever, it's like, well, he's also Ric Flair, though, It's hard. Like, it's hard to defend, because when you get down to it, it's like, I understand why people are mad. But are you really this mad? Are you really this mad, or are you just kind of taking a stand? Like, I get it, but again, like, and I've said this before about Ric Flair, like, if you want to take a stand about Ric Flair, you're going to have to start taking a stand about a lot of people in pro wrestling. Your favorite wrestler is No Angel. Like, come on. It's pro wrestling. What do you think is happening when the fucking match is over? It's a greasy business.
Definitely well said, without question. But that's a huge thing, too. You look at a lot of people's, like, rap sheets. A lot of them have a heavy rap sheet, probably heavier than Flair's.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you go down that route, yeah, that's it. Again, allegations. Like, whether you believe it or not, fine. But again, you go down that route, there's a lot of people with different allegations, a lot of things. So, I mean, even that guy you probably liked on Raw this week, Jelly Rolls, like, he didn't exactly have a perfect life too.
No, I don't know anything about him.
Oh, I thought you actually liked him. Okay.
Me? I have no idea who he is. I saw him.
Okay.
I've heard of him. I've heard of Jelly Roll. I saw him on Raw. I understand he's a country singer, but he looks like Post Malone or something. Looks I don't know. He does a song with Eminem.
Post Malone, but yes.
Yeah, he looks like two Post Malones. I don't know anything about him. Are you saying he's been incarcerated before? I mean, a lot of people. That's the thing. Has he, though? Yeah. I'm looking at his Wikipedia, and it doesn't seem like he's been in jail. He just has face tattoos.
Apparently, he got arrested for, it was some sort of stick-up or something.
At age 14, he and several others were arrested and charged with multiple counts of possession of marijuana and attempted robbery. I mean, that's...
There you go.
Pretty mild. I listened to a podcast called Drink Champs. I don't know. I probably mentioned it a few times, John. There's a guy called Nori on that show. Noriega from Capone and Noriega. And he just flat out says, on the show, I've shot people. I shoot people. He's proud of it. He's been to jail. And nobody thinks anything wrong of Nori. Nori's a good man. Family man. He shot people. Sometimes you got to shoot people. Sometimes people need to get shot. It's the way of the streets. Shit happens. I'm just saying, sometimes the way of the streets, way of the wrestling business, way of the road, fucking way she goes. Things happen. People do things. People are in situations. And to just banish Ric Flair. I mean, he didn't shoot anybody. He didn't rape anybody that we know of. He should not have taken his penis out. But I'm sure he was so goddamn intoxicated that he does not recall. But it's also not the first time that he's done that. That's kind of his gimmick. Ric Flair takes his penis out, swings it around like a helicopter. It is inappropriate. But I don't think it's a reason to ban him from wrestling forever. He's Ric Flair. Well, I'm not even a Ric Flair fan. This is weird, I don't even like Ric Flair that much. You know what I'm saying? Sitting here defending Ric Flair. It's not like he's Hogan or anything. Hogan, I will defend, even though he is a devout racist. I will defend Hogan's racism because he's cool at wrestling, I will defend CM Punk's attacking of other wrestlers because he's cool at wrestling. I just like guys that are cool at wrestling. Everybody's got their demons, brother.
I think that's it too. Yeah, everyone has their demons, and Flair is willing. He said he'd step away if he embarrassed AEW,
which is so sad. He's feeling like he's embarrassing the company. His whole tweet was just made me so. I could pull that up. It just made me so sad for him.
But it was really nice to see a lot of wrestlers stood up for him, though.
Yeah, I saw Miro stood up for him.
Miro, Kevin Nash, Chris Jericho, quite a few, I think.
Good. Kevin Nash is a good man. Miro's a good man. You know who else is cool? Miro's wife. She's very cool.
What does CJ have to say? What does CJ say?
I just think she's cool, John. That's all. I'm just saying that she's cool.
I thought she tweeted something. Okay.
No. She was excited about CM Punk coming back, though, which I thought was cool for an AEW person to say.
Well, I think she realizes the scope of it all, the impact that does to wrestling. I think she realizes, too, I think her husband and Punk got along pretty well, so.
Yep. Well,
speaking of stuff, too.
For more on CJ Perry, by the way, John, stay tuned to the Ringside Report Network.
Okay, that's interesting. I have no idea what you're talking about. But speaking of all this stuff, too.
I'm saying coming soon to the Ringside Report Network, CJ Perry, a.k.a. Lana. Breaking news.
Well, you're going to interview her? You're going to talk to her? When's this happening?
We're going to have, I think it'll be Tuesday. It'll drop on Tuesday. We got
I guess it's
CJ Perry coming to the Ringside Report Network.
This is to help promote the Montreal show, which is happening that same day. I get it.
Yeah, and some other stuff.
Good
for
stuff,
a chat.
Good stuff.
Just for a chat. We're big fans.
I see other people apparently.
Yeah, of course.
The other people are fans. So that's good.
Even though she stole my gimmick, you know?
Going through tables?
No, hot and flexible.
Okay.
That was me. I'm hot and flexible, baby. That's what they call me. All of a sudden, she's hot and flexible. I'm like, whoa. Take it easy there. I'm going to start calling myself the Ravishing Russian now. I got to take a gimmick back. Here's Ric Flair. So, yeah, that'll be fun for everybody. CJ Perry coming to the Ringside Report Network.
Well, that's breaking news. That's huge.
That's right. You never know what Dave's got up his sleeve. I've got sleeves, too. I'm not even in a T-shirt. Look at this. Elimination Chamber 2023. That was here, you know.
Yeah, I was never big on getting the events, like, shirts. I mean, they're always interesting, but I never thought of getting them.
I like it because it was a big event. You know, it commemorates the show.
I get it. I get it.
And it's got the Quebec logo on it and everything. And it was the first pay-per-view I took my son to. It's got sentimental value for me.
I get it. I understand.
Yeah. So here's a Nature Boy. I am so tired, woo, of hearing all this negativity. He didn't woo. I don't need to work, and I don't need the money. Can I simply enjoy being my dear friend Sting's side? By my dear friend Sting's side for the next few months without so much hatred? I know I'm old, but that doesn't mean I can't enjoy life. I have earned the right to do whatever I want, and I'm exactly where I want to be. I appreciate everything, Tony Khan, but I'm more than willing to walk away if I am embarrassing you and your company. All I can say is I'm sorry. I mean, that's fucking sad.
Yeah.
It's just sad. This poor guy, you know, he struggled with his own self-image and his confidence and everything. Of course, his son passed away.
Super sad.
Yeah, I mean, he's been through a lot, man. I don't know. I just feel so bad for him. He's got to go through this now. It's like some people are upset that he's on TV. I get that people are mad, and I get why they're mad. But again, like, it's Ric Flair and it's pro wrestling. You get what you pay for. Like,
yeah, he's
part of wrestling. You know, if you go to wrestling, sometimes you might see a guy like Ric Flair. He's just part of the fabric of the business. He's given his life to it. Everything he has. Like, his family life. You know what I mean?
No,
not live
I
in
completely
studio.
get you. Yeah,
but you know what I mean?
You're getting some questions now.
Yeah.
Angela's answering your questions.
Thank you, Angela. Right? But, like, he's given so much. So much. And, well, people don't want him to have it. And the problem is the people that don't want him to have it have given what to wrestling? The people that want to be the gatekeepers of wrestling and say, you're not allowed in AEW. What have you done for wrestling? Because it is nothing compared to what Ric Flair has done. You know? Like, who are they to take ownership of AEW and what wrestling is supposed to be and what AEW is? Who are they? How are they more important than Ric Flair? What are their contributions to the history of professional wrestling? Because unless your name is fucking Steve Austin or Hulk Hogan or Bret Hart or Bryan Danielson, you should probably shut the fuck up. You know? He's pretty high level.
I'm not going to disagree with you on this one. Like, it's sad, the whole situation. And we lose out the most, I think, because we're not going to get Flair. We're probably not going to get Sting. I mean, this might be the last time they'll ever come to Montreal, ever. And we're not going to get them now. So we really lose out in the end.
I hope we do. I love those guys. They're cool. They're legends of the business.
I don't think I've ever seen Flair. like live.
I have, for sure.
He's definitely, I think, been on some shows. I want to say maybe I saw him in the corner maybe one time. Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen him wrestle, though.
Evolution days, I'm sure he was here.
In the corner, I think that's it, though.
Maybe.
I don't know if I saw him wrestle.
Well, you're not going to see him wrestle, even if he is here for AEW.
No, but I mean, it's just good to, one last time kind of thing. Like, and, cut a promo or say something,
Yeah.
At that moment, especially for Sting. Like, Sting, definitely, I've never seen Sting.
Yeah. It would be great. And
sell tickets.
Hey, you know what might sell tickets? Sting and Ric Flair, 2 household names in pro wrestling, which is also a reason why you might want them on your wrestling show. Like the flippy indie guys that you like, their salaries are paid because people buy tickets to see Ric Flair. See what I'm saying? Like, it's all.
Well, that's why you need the balance. People complain about.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, just people complain about WWE guys, but you need that because they're actual stars.
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to help sell your new company is with these stars. You need that balance.
People complain too many old ex-WWE guys. I saw one guy complain to me this week. I don't like AEW's too many old ex-WWE guys. And I go, yeah, he's like, guys that are past their prime, ex-WWE guys past their prime in AEW. And I go, yeah, like CM Punk. And I was like, no, wait, he's on Raw now. And he's like, well, it's different. CM Punk, it's different when he's in WWE. And I go, what? So in AEW, he's past his prime, and you don't like it, and you don't watch AEW because it's all guys past their prime. When he goes to WWE, then you like him, and he's like in his prime all of a sudden. It just doesn't make sense. You can't appeal to everybody. People are going to be upset about whatever, but you need that mix. You need the mix. You need the older guys to put over the younger guys to make those younger guys into stars. Just ask Randy Orton. His whole career was built on that. And look at him now. He's a fully finished product, big star who can make younger stars, make new stars, and keep the business going. That's how it's supposed to work. It's how it's always worked. People lose sight of that. And baffling sometimes. But, I think wrestling has been pretty cool this week, John. Fun stuff. CM Punk is in wrestling. Randy Orton is in wrestling. Bryan Danielson is coming back. Like, he's going to wrestle. That was news this week, right? Because we thought maybe he won't be in the tournament. They announced him for it, but they didn't announce a match, and now he's going to wrestle tomorrow night. That's pretty cool.
And as long as, he doesn't walk the plank, he should make it to Montreal.
Hopefully he'll wrestle Tuesday night on Collision, which is so exciting. Like,
it should happen.
That is going to be nuts.
It'd be nice if they announced some matches, but yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
are we going to get Kenny in the Bucks?
Maybe Kenny. I don't know about the Bucks. Friend, the Bucks are like taking time off now or something. Like the being the Elite's done now too. I don't know if you knew about that.
Yeah, I saw that. I hope we get Kenny. Like, part of the reason I want to go see AEW is to see Kenny Omega. It's Canada. I mean, I better see Kenny Omega this week. I really want to see Kenny. I want to see Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, and Kenny Omega. And I'm not going to see CM Punk. I'm hoping he makes the house show December 28th. It's a Raw house show. Fingers crossed. Maybe he wrestles somebody. I doubt it.
Good luck.
You never know, John. Yeah. You never know. Imagine that, John. Imagine if CM Punk is on the house show. Then you'll regret not going to the house show. Let me tell you.
Well, no. I got my, I have my WWE hookup. I'm okay for the house show. It's fine.
Are you going to the house show?
Yeah, probably. Why?
Oh,
it's during the holiday season, so why not?
Yeah. Okay. I hope we see Kenny this week. I hope we see Bryan wrestle. I know we're going to get Edge versus Christian. I know we're getting MJF wrestling. That's pretty cool. I'm happy about that.
There's potential. I mean, Dynamite, I'm sold on Dynamite. Collision, I mean, sell me. You haven't sold me yet.
Yeah, well, we have no idea, right?
Exactly. That's sad.
I mean,
Friday.
I would expect to see people like Claudio Castagnoli, Brody King, Daniel Garcia, Eddie Kingston, Bryan Danielson, and Andrade. Because those 6 guys are in the Blue League, and they seem to be doing Blue League matches of the tournament on Collision. So those guys probably in a combination of matches. Maybe Bryan versus Claudio.
I kind of mentioned that last week too, where I feel like that would be the match to do with Montreal, because to sell a good wrestling match, you'd want that. I would love to see FTR. I think FTR is the best tag team in wrestling, so
yeah,
that to me is a great sell to have them in a match.
I'd like to see FTR. I was actually in attendance for a match that FTR calls like one of their best matches. A huge FTR match.
NXT match, I think it was in Toronto
with Enzo and Cass.
Right.
Yes, it was incredible. I remember watching it live, just kind of take place in. When you're seeing an incredible match in person, and you're just watching it, and as it goes on, you're like, God damn, this is really good. Because you watch wrestling, you go to a lot of wrestling shows, you see them, and then all of a sudden, you sit there and you're witnessing a classic, and you're like, shit, this is crazy. It's good. It's only happened a few times in my life. Once in a while, you're like, wow, this is a classic. I remember sitting there during like round 3 of John Jones, Alexander Gustafsson going, is this the greatest fight I've ever seen? I was like sitting there 10 rows back like, are they really doing this to each other right now? This is nuts. Classics. It's cool to be in attendance for some of those. Hopefully we'll get a classic on Dynamite. Edge versus Christian? Could be. Instant classic?
A lot of potential.
Christian Cage?
A lot of potential. I mean, to me, that's the last big main event I'd want to see. I mean, this is like pay-per-view quality right here we're getting. Like, I thought they were going to save it for World's End, so I'm surprised we're getting it already.
Yeah. It's pretty good. I'm happy that we get to see Edge, and Christian.
His entrance
but Edge,
be incredible.
Yeah. Just seeing Edge here is going to be nuts. But it's going to be a real small crowd. And in that big old building, 5,000 people, which is all they're set up for. Like, if they sell out, it's like 5,500 people. And that, in that building, is going to feel so empty. It's going to feel... I've been in the Bell Center with 8,000 people for a UFC pay-per-view. The last UFC pay-per-view they ever did here, and they'll never come back because it was pathetic. And it felt very empty. It felt like nobody was there. And that was 8,000 people in the Bell Center. 2,000 people? 5,000 people? It's going to feel like an Expos game. Remember the Expos games towards the end? 3,000-4,000 people in the Olympic Stadium, a 50,000 seat stadium. You could sit anywhere. You had whole sections to yourself.
Good. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
They still wouldn't let you go to the VIP section, though. They were still like, had the ushers there. They're like, no, not these seats. You could sit anywhere in the yellow ones, but if you wanted to go down into the blue ones, they're like, no, not those. Anywhere in the yellows, though. Right behind home plate. Not right behind, because those were the blue ones.
Yeah.
Right? You remember? The seats that you couldn't slam that made noise. The seats that you could slam that made noise, the yellow seats, clack, 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 right? And there were so many empty seats that you could sit on either side of you, grab a chair, and go plack, 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 when to cheer on the team. You did that. We all did that, right? But you couldn't do that with the blue seats because they were too, plasticky. They didn't have the same clack. They were the fancy ones. They were slightly more comfortable. Those yellow seats were not so nice. I think they're still there.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure, but hopefully they made them better by now. I would hope. It's been
a
while.
I don't think so. I think they're the same. I haven't been to the Olympic Stadium for something in a long time. What's the last time you were in the Olympic Stadium? I'm trying to think. I can't remember.
I was kind of there for the Stanley Cup final 2 years ago, but that not actually in the Olympic. That was in the outside of the Olympic Stadium. It's not the same thing. Like inside though, yeah, we're going back to like the was it 2000, 2001?
I went to those Blue Jays games. I went to those Blue Jays games when they came, the like exhibition games, you know?
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yo, I'm still hoping that they come back and do one of those because they were supposed to do them with the Yankees. The Yankees were supposed to come the year of COVID. Like, they were still doing them every year, right?
Yes.
Like, every season, every baseball season, the Blue Jays would do 2 exhibition games in Montreal before they would start their season, like for 3 or 4 years in a row, right? And I would go to those games because it was like, oh, baseball. I like baseball, you know? Even though it was the Blue Jays, I still like baseball. But Blue Jays, like, it's really distasteful. I fucking hate the Blue Jays.
Yeah, they had Vlad Guerrero Jr., so there's a reason.
But then the Yankees were supposed to come. It was supposed to be Blue Jays and Yankees. And I was like, oh, shit, Yankees, you know? Who I love. They're my team, and I love them. And then COVID happened, so the games got canceled, which really sucks. So, but that was probably the last time. Might have been monster trucks. I went to like a monster truck show at the Olympic Stadium. That may have been the last time I went because that was just before COVID. It was probably the monster trucks, actually. Monster Spectacular.
Okay.
I went to that, but that was like just before COVID happened. So 2020, maybe 2019. 2019.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big empty building that nobody uses. It's a piece of crap. Well, it is
not
right?
good for wrestling.
Not good for pro wrestling. WWE's not doing anything there, you know? People say, is WrestleMania ever going to come to Montreal? I go, where would it be? They go, Olympic Stadium. I go, no. Have you seen the like new state-of-the-art stadiums that WWE does WrestleManias at? Now picture that in the Olympic Stadium. What?
Never.
No. They do stadium shows in nice stadiums, not shitty stadiums, especially in April where, you know, snow could fall and the roof could cave in on Hulk Hogan or whatever, right? We don't want that. We don't want that. So never, ever, ever, ever. And now when people ask me, will AEW ever come to Montreal after these 2 shows, I can also say never, ever, ever, ever will AEW ever come back here because the attendance will be so shit that they will go, oh, this is not a market for us. And they will never come back. It's like when TNA did a show here, when TNA had Christian and Kurt Angle and real wrestling stars Samoa Joe, right? You remember the show we went to, John?
I was with you, yeah.
Yeah, and that was a building, I mean...
Guy Charbonneau?
TNA was Pierre Charbonneau, right? And TNA was hot at the time. As hot as TNA would get, you know? Maybe not as hot as AEW is right now, but, like, I would say close.
It was a good show.
Yeah.
I remember watching.
It was a good show, but do you remember how many people were there? It was at the Pierre Charbonneau Arena, which is not the Bell Center, and they did not sell that thing out. There was like maybe 300 people there.
I was going to say it was under 1,000.
And we were like 20 of them because I got like 25 free tickets from TNA.
We had a good section.
We had like 2 sections. I had so many tickets for that. I gave tickets to everybody. We packed that place. Half the building was us. It was ridiculous. And that's what AEW is, you know, for the Montreal wrestling audience. They're like the B leagues, and they should be at a B arena, not the Bell Center, because we're not going to fill the Bell Center for that. We'll fill like they could have done one night at Place Bell and maybe sold out.
Well, no, they couldn't do Place Bell because Wednesday there's a hockey game. And Saturday there's a hockey game, so that's the problem.
Cool. So they're doing Tuesday and Wednesday at the Bell Center. I hope they got a good rate on the building, but I don't think AEW is ever going to come back. If you look at the tickets sold so far, like it's looking bad. It's sad to me. I wish Montreal would show up a little bit more for this, but AEW has not done a great job in promoting. So it's in a lot of ways it's AEW's fault.
Well, it's great that you're getting the CJ Perry interview. I mean, if it was earlier, it may have helped.
It has nothing to do with them, and everything to do with her. For the record.
Wow, fantastic for her then. Okay.
Yeah. No, she's just great. She does things out on her own because she's smart. She's where she is for a reason. Yeah, she knows what she's doing. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's good.
Yep. Yeah. Maybe she should be running event promotion for AEW. Just saying. Might help. I don't know what Jeff Jarrett's doing. Isn't that his job?
I think he's a part of it, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have some questions for her now, so that's good.
No, I don't want to ask her those questions. That's just not. I mean, what's she going to say? It's not her fault. I have other questions for her that are about her and about everything that she does and the awesome things that she does because she is cool. I may talk to her about taking a bump through a table, and if she ever wants to do that again,
table every week.
Can she? Does she ever imagine a day where she bumps through a table again? Does she ever want to see another table in her life? I feel like those weeks with Nia Jax, were enough for her. Nia Jax still wrestling on TV somehow. Looking awful.
She did wrestle this week.
Yeah, she was really bad this week. I saw her on Raw this week. I was like, wow, that was a bad match. God,
see, the problem with Raw this week was you had to wait like 2
hours
show
to see Punk.
Minutes. Yeah. So
yeah.
You had to struggle to get through it all. That was the problem with it. And by the way, those tag segment things they do the skits backstage, the worst things WWE puts out.
Yeah.
Like awful. Like embarrassingly bad. How could you air that stuff? The Tozawa, whatever they do with the smelling crap, like Jelly Rolls was there, like awful, terrible, disgusting.
Yeah. What's up with Gable?
Never show that ever again.
Why is Tozawa wrestling? Was Gable hurt?
Gable's in the background now, man. Like I told you this was going to happen. Like
it's not good. On SmackDown, we had Logan Paul and Kevin Owens have a little face-off, and then they announced, there was a promo thing here on SmackDown, and then they announced a tournament with Kevin Owens and Grayson Waller and Austin Theory and Dragon Lee and Karrion Kross, who's been gone, but I guess is coming back. Santos Escobar, Bobby Lashley, and a mystery NXT wrestler. And then Kevin Owens wrestled Grayson Waller. Was that part of the tournament or just a match?
No. Yeah, it was just a match. It wasn't a tournament match.
Yeah, dumb.
I was kind of dumb, yeah.
I was confused. They're starting the tournament next week, I think, right?
It's Lashley against Cross, and I think Santos against Dragon Lee.
And it's an elimination tournament, right? It's not like round robin like AEW. They're not doing a copy thing. It's like a King of the Ring where 8-man and whoever is the winner at the end is the winner. Like finals and semifinals type of thing.
They've only done that kind of tournament style. I don't think WWE's ever done like round robin.
No.
So, yeah.
That's a G1 type of thing that AEW is ripping off. And I like it, but it's not WWE style, and that's fine. I think Kevin Owens and Logan Paul is the match. I guess whoever wins this tournament will wrestle Logan Paul at the Rumble for the U.S. title.
That would be my guess. I'm just surprised, like, how does Lashley not win this? But, I mean, those have stupid interference at some point. But, I mean, on paper, Lashley should win this. But Kevin Owens is the match to make.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it, right? There seems to be something there with Logan Paul and Kevin Owens. I like the face-off, and I like that Kevin Owens says that Logan peddles a crap drink. Called his drink crap. No one says that about Prime on WWE TV. Kevin Owens hitting him where it hurts.
Yeah, well, he got Kevin with a lot of fat jokes, though. Holy
yes, he did.
Crap.
On commentary. Many of them. Yep.
I don't know if Kevin would be happy about that, to be honest. There was a lot of jokes.
Yeah,
McDonald's ones was pretty bad.
I think there's room for some really interesting work between Logan Paul and Kevin Owens. I think Kevin could say some rough things, and it could get... I think Kevin is in a place where he's like, fucking gloves are off, man. He seems pissed a little bit. He seemed pissed tonight on SmackDown. And pissed off Kevin Owens is the Kevin Owens I like. Happy Kevin Owens, living his life, enjoying WWE. Like, he's good and all. He's good for some stunts every now and again. But pissed off, angry Kevin Owens trying to, like, take everybody's head off to get ahead. That's the Kevin Owens I really like. And I think CM Punk has kind of lit a fire. And Logan Paul is stoking those flames. Big time. I like it.
Well, to me, I would have said this for WrestleMania, but if they get out the Rumble, it's fine. I worry Kevin's probably not going to win because I'd give Kevin the U.S. title over Logan, but that's not what's in the cards if he's going to wrestle at the Rumble. But it's a good match to make, and I look forward to it as it keeps progressing. Kevin definitely should win the tournament, I think.
Yeah, it seems like it. And Cody Rhodes officially announcing himself for the Royal Rumble. He's in the Rumble. Does he win the Rumble? I don't think he does this year. I think this year it's one man's Royal Rumble. Although, I think it's still LA Knight's Royal Rumble.
My question is, has the person that first said he's entering the Rumble ever win the Rumble?
I don't think so.
I mean, if it's happened, it's very rarely ever happened, I think.
Yeah. It's usually a bad sign. I don't think Cody's going to win. It's just, Rumble promotion.
Punk's on the poster.
Punk and Austin would be cool. Punk and you could do a lot. You could do Punk and Cody. You could do Punk and Seth. There's so many different roads with Punk because he hasn't been there for so long. A bunch of fresh matchups. So we will see what they do with CM Punk. Johnny North, when is your next match? When can people see you?
It's actually this Sunday. I'm in a tag team match. Bell time 4 p.m. 1000 Boulevard d'Avenir. And starting the steps towards becoming NWA Canadian Tag Team Champions with this match.
Yes. And you're going to do it. So go check out Johnny North. Go to his Twitter, @NorthGenesis, for more info on the show. This coming Sunday in Laval, Quebec. Go watch Johnny North wrestle, support indie wrestling and the Torture Chamber and all the good people there. I will be back here Thursday night, 8 p.m. We've ironed out all the technical issues. The COVID is getting out of the system. And we're heading to AEW Collision. AJ couldn't be there last night for some other reasons that we'll talk about another day off the air. AJ's good. AJ's okay. But he just
none of his handles made it too, unfortunately.
Yeah. I will be back here Thursday night, 8 p.m. for more Ringside Report MMA. Thank you to everybody tuning in. Thank you to the members, Angelo, Leor, Harold. Shout out to you guys, and shout out to everybody watching here tonight on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Kick, Rumble. Everybody tuning in, we appreciate you. Good to be back here on the Ringside Report Network for Wrestling Uncensored.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button. Flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net.